My guest today on the Pocket Mastermind Podcast is entrepreneur and founder of digital marketing agency Passionfruit Media, Matt Penny. Matt, welcome to the Pocket Mastermind Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you today?
Yeah, good. Yeah, very well, thank you, David. Yeah, I'm all right.
Nice and busy?
Yes, nice and busy, which is good. Better than the alternative.
Excellent. So I want to talk to you today about your entrepreneurial journey and what's led you to setting up your own agency. You're still a young guy, so it's good to get a perspective from someone who's fairly early on their journey and the lessons that you've kind of learned along the way. So where did it all start for you?
I think it started when I was a teenager. I've always been of the nerdy type. So when everyone else out playing football, I was inside in my room learning to code. And then that led to me writing some apps. I guess that was the first entrepreneurial thing that I did, was writing apps and putting it on the App Store and getting people to download and pay for them. I think I made £8 doing that, something crazy like that.
You retire at that point then?
Yeah, exactly. I thought about hanging out the boots at that point, yeah. But that led me to getting a job as an app developer at a local business, which was great. I worked there for a couple of years whilst I was still doing bits at school. And that was great, but I was looking to go to university instead of study computer science. Mm-hmm. And I was already working the sort of job that I might get if I'd gone to university and studied computer science. And while it was good and the people were great, it seemed like there was more. I wanted more. And I thought, actually, it doesn't make sense to go to university to get a degree, to get the sort of job that I've already got and not fully enjoying. So I thought, hang on a minute, there must be something else out there that I can look into and start doing.
Mm-hmm. And spend all the money basically getting back to where you
exactly
started from. Yeah. It's probably a wise choice. And interestingly enough, I think a lot more people could probably do with pausing and making that decision as well. I've worked in corporate world a lot, and a lot of the roles that are out there, you don't need university level education to do really, and so
right.
There's a lot of people I think laden themselves with debt. So it's quite interesting to get your take on making that decision.
Yeah, the way that the school I was at, the way that it was done was it wasn't asked what do you want to do, but it was more of a question of which university do you want to go to. And it was kind of inbred that was it's kind of stated that university was the way to go. It wasn't really asked, what do you want to do? Okay, is university the right choice for you? It was more saying, which one do you want to go to? And I think that level of actually saying, there's more things out there than just university, going to get a nice, secure job. It's great for a lot of people, not bashing that at all. But for some people who want other things, then there are different opportunities out there. And I think as things are changing so quickly, a large part of that is due to the internet. There's so many more opportunities, which a lot of the education system hasn't quite caught up to yet and don't quite know all the opportunities that are out there for people.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider, let's say even up to the end of year 11, you're 16 at that point. If you go back 16 years from now, there was no Facebook.
Right.
So, a kid going into school at 11 years ago wouldn't have been, may have just been using Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was a lot of stuff that's around now didn't even exist. So how does the education system keep up with that kind of thing? It's so difficult.
Right, exactly. And I think, I can't remember where I heard it, but I think they were saying that by the time that we get into our 40s, a lot of us will have, this is when I was at school a couple of years ago, that by the time a lot of us get into our 40s, we'll be working on jobs that don't exist nowadays because of technology and how it moves and where things are going. That actually it's crazy to think about, right, what do you want to go down? What do you want to choose now? You're a 16-year-old person, choose what you want to do for the rest of your life. And actually the things we'll end up doing haven't even been invented yet. So it's all a little bit crazy, all a little bit backward, but it is what it is.
It is, yeah. And what do you think it was? You started doing the apps when you were, what did you say, 15, 16?
Yeah, 15.
What really started that? Had you been a bit entrepreneurial when you were younger than that?
Not really. I was never the sort of kid that was out there making the lemonade and selling it on a lemonade stand or going around with the lawnmower. I was always
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Have you ever seen a lemonade stand in the UK?
No.
People selling it? No, I haven't seen it either. No, but I was always too introverted to do anything like that. but I feel like I could do the coding, sitting behind a screen all day. I could do that. And then it came to selling the actual apps, which I wasn't great at, but that, I guess that was kind of like the route into it from the technical side of things. And then that kind of led me to discover the marketing and the business side of it as well. And when I got into it, I was saying, oh, you know what, this is actually quite fun. I quite enjoy this. I like actually getting things to happen in the world and getting people to use the product that I've created, and just went down that path and led me to the marketing side of things.
So that was what drew you then towards where, you know, the marketing areas where you are now. That was the starting point.
Yeah, I think
that foundation of having your own product and then realizing you needed to do that part of the business actually ended up business.
Actually, it was the product that I was designing for the company. So the app that I was developing at this company, we produced the app, and then it came to the point of getting people to actually use it. And it's very easy for a technical person to sit down and write an app if you know what you're doing and you know how to use Google. But when you're getting people to actually use it and getting people to download it, that's a different side of things. So when we started to look at that inside the company, and started to understand the marketing of that business and all of the businessy side of things, that's something that really interested me. And I thought, you know what, this is good. I'm going to go and I'm going to learn about this. So I learned that side of things whilst at that job.
How did you go about learning that?
YouTube. YouTube and
magic
blogs.
of YouTube.
Yeah, the University of YouTube. Yeah, everything you could want is on there.
Everything I know on the planet, I think, just about comes from YouTube.
Right. Yeah, so learn about everything from YouTube, and then obviously sort of the traditional business books and marketing books that you read out there, and that kind of got me down the marketing route. And then I discovered some of these online courses, kind of the online gurus as they were, which I found and went through some of their courses, and that kind of led me onto starting my own marketing agency compared to just working as a developer / marketer for these apps within a company.
And what did you take from the courses that you did? Because there's loads, like you say, there's a lot of them out there, and trying to sift your way through, and some very good marketing from a lot of these guys, unsurprisingly, right? How do you potentially pick a good one?
So what I would say is find the ones that have great and irrefutable results, and that if there are clients out there, or like people that have gone through the course before, who you can actually get in touch with and say, hey, have you found it? At which point the salesmanship is probably taken away. And if they didn't like it, then they'll tell you, you know what, don't spend your money on it. But actually, if they've gone, yes, it's great, or I've seen this return, then you know to go ahead with it. I would say that's the biggest thing, having gone through a lot of online programs, which I do find have really helped me in some areas. Finding people that have gone through it before and simply asking them, how's it work for you?
What do you think are the main takeaways that you've been able to learn from those courses that have made the difference to you now? I
think probably it's all about the implementation. So a lot of the things that are inside these programs and these courses are great, and one of the great things about them is they're all packaged up nicely, but a lot of the information you can find on YouTube and other places on the internet. And I think it's less so about the knowledge, which there's so much knowledge, so much information out there, but it's more about the implementation. Some courses are great. They're giving you like implementation steps. You do this, this, and this, which some people do, some people don't. But I think it really comes down to actually applying these things. There are 1,000,001 business ideas out there that could work, but it's not about the ideas, it's about the implementation. And that's a saying out there, which I think is very true. And I think is the thing that differentiates people who have seen results from these online courses and the people who say it's a scam and they want their money back, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is that everyone talks about all of the online courses and other non-traditional training, as I'll call it, as kind of as scams and things. But go back to the formal education and a university. I mean, how many people graduate every year and then go on to actually even use their degree,
right,
never mind be successful from it, and no one questions that.
Yeah, and I think it's just because it's the normal, right? People expect to pay, what is it now in the UK, 30,000 for the education, and then another 20,000 for the living whilst you're at university, and they don't question it. That's just how things are. However,
The
if someone came
ROI
up
on
with a
that's terrible.
yeah, right, exactly. And someone came up with an online course and said, hey, it's going to cost you 50 grand, but at the end of it, you'll have a skill set which you can apply. And we're going to teach you how to apply it, not just the knowledge. People would be like, that's crazy. I'm never going to
Yeah.
spend that amount of money. But because we've been taught the university is a good thing to spend your money and your time on, people are happy just to dive into it. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that changes in the future and to see what the splits are between people going to university, which obviously people in the maths and the science and the medicine world will have to do. And then the sort of people who learn from people who are actually doing things such as marketing or graphic design or websites or whatever it is from the people who are doing it rather than universities.
And what were the steps then once you kind of felt, right, I'm quite interested in doing my own thing. I know marketing and that area became the interest. What steps did you then take to setting up on your own?
So I think the first steps that I took were creating a website, so learning the skills or trying to learn the skills, going through the programs, learning as much as I could. Where I was a bit nervous to get out in front of people and start selling. I'd do all the steps that I could before that. So all the steps that actually aren't that relevant, like creating a website, you don't need that to start a business, although it's probably good, especially in digital marketing, and having a good Facebook page and Instagram and all this stuff. So setting up all of that, and then I would go out there and speak to businesses. First of all, I would pretend like I was the shit, like I knew everything and I was going to transform their business.
How did that work out overall?
Not well when I went in, and I would say, yeah, no worries, it's £500 a month, we could do this, this and this, it's going to revolutionize your business, it's going to be amazing. And then I realized I'm way out of my depth and none of them sign up, and I thought, actually this isn't going well, I hate it as well, I'm not a salesman. So then I went to one client meeting and I said, look, hey, I've gone through online courses, these people know their stuff, but I haven't tried it out properly before. I'll tell you what, I'll do you a really good price. We'll go through it. You'll get some results, hopefully. I'll get to train on you, and we can use this kind of case study. And just being fully open with people rather than saying, hey, look, it's going to be £1,000 a month and I'll deliver you all of these great things. Just being open was how I did it. And that seemed to work incredibly well. And I think especially when I was 17, 18 doing that, a lot of people were going, you know what, yeah, I'll give him a chance. I think my age played into that a little bit. And then when I started to get some results, then everything just started to scale up from there to the point where we are at today.
So that gave you the platform then to be able to actually have some evidence that you could do what you were saying you could do.
Yeah.
What was your mindset initially when you get in those knockbacks? How do you overcome that? Because I think it'd be quite easy to say, oh, actually it might be too hard.
Yeah, I think just trying not to take it personally and trying to see it from the other person's point of view. That when I remember one meeting that I had, which the guy was pretty explicit about saying, I would never pay you that amount of money to do this stuff. You don't know anything about digital marketing or anything about our business. And I think it's just trying to understand that, if you're in their shoes, you'd probably say the same thing. And it's nothing personal. It's simply knowing what they know. That's the decision that they've made, and it's logical to them. And try not to take it emotionally, but just seeing the logic, seeing why they said it, and just moving on and saying, there'll be someone else out there.
And how long were you from when you kind of decided to set up to when you started to feel that you were gaining some momentum? How long do you think that was?
Probably a year. It's quite a slow burn at the beginning. I was also carrying on the app development job at the same time, part-time, to keep paying the bills. And it probably took a year just to build up a small amount of clients and feel confident with what I'm doing in order to go out there and say, yes, I can charge this amount for my services. And actually, that'd be a good thing for the businesses to spend their money on. So I'll say about a year to really get into the stride of things and start to pick things up.
I think it's good to talk about that, because I think one of the things with online courses and various other things is it can be portrayed as results come immediately kind of thing. And I think it's important for people, if they're thinking about going down this route, that it's not going to happen overnight. This is business. It's not winning the lottery.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, I think it can happen really quickly for some people, but I think it's unrealistic to expect that. So I've had strategies in my business where I have seen some really good results really fast. And if I'd taken those exact actions on my first week, then I probably would have seen the same results that I saw when I implemented it a year and a half after starting.
Hmm.
And I think there are some of those sort of tactics out there, but generally I think it's very unrealistic to start and expect to be just up and going in 30 days or whatever some of these people say. I mean, there are some tactics which allow you to do that, but tactics never really last.
No.
And if you're only in it to get those results for the first 30 days, and then if you don't see them within the first 30 days, then you quit.
It's
Then
not for you, is it?
yeah, it's not for you.
It's definitely, and that's the other thing I think is it's very easy to have a look at, have your eyes on some kind of almost like an end point, which there is no end. So it's important to embrace the journey, the learning, and maybe you talk about some of those tactics that could have worked from day one, but the reason you probably stumbled across them not on day one is because of the experience you gained
Right.
between then and that point, right? So yeah, it could have worked, but the chances of you actually implementing that on day one are probably slim.
Yeah, exactly. I think right experience, I think, is massively underrated and something which makes the biggest difference.
Hmm.
Is just actually having that experience and seeing what works and what doesn't work. I mean, in the marketing space, that's how we build profitable campaigns, is we see what works and what doesn't work and then just do more of what does work and stop putting time and effort and money into what doesn't work. And I think it's exactly the same in the, well, I mean, all of this comes from my very limited experience in business, only a couple of years, but from my experience can't be beaten. And that's where you learn the best lessons as well. It's very easy to go on YouTube and you hear Bill Gates talk about how the 3 things you need to do to be successful. And you can say, oh yeah, that sounds good, but it doesn't really hit home as something that you actually learn from experience, especially painful experiences. Actually, yeah, the things you learn from those.
I think it's easy to forget. For some reason, there's something in the human brain that disconnects various different elements of your life from one another. And so, like, for just general, without consciously thinking through life, you're always failing. Every single day, you probably try to do something and you fail, and you learn from it consciously and subconsciously. And then when it comes to business, everyone suddenly gets really terrified of the idea of getting stuff wrong.
Yeah.
I think you have to get stuff wrong to have any chance of growing. If you're not getting stuff wrong, then you're probably holding yourself back.
Yeah, definitely.
You're not going to be moving forwards.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it'd be that fun if you didn't fail at anything. If everything you tried was fun, then what would be the point? I mean, I don't know if you ever played the game Sims, where you like control those little people. Have you ever played that?
Yeah.
Right, where like if you wanted to become really good at guitar, you could do that. You're never going to fail. You just play the guitar for ages on that game and you become amazing at guitar. Or if you wanted to, I can't remember the other things, it's like become the president, you just went to work a lot or something like that. But if there's like a set routine to get whatever you want and it was guaranteed and there's no way you could fail, you just had to do these steps, that it wouldn't be as fun. Like the Sims wasn't that fun because I knew that anything that I want, it was really easy to obtain. And actually that unknowing and failing and saying, all right, that didn't work, but perhaps this is going to work, is the fun bits, I think.
It's the adventure, isn't it? There's, not knowing whether something's going to work and not knowing the outcome is the fun bit. Otherwise, like you say, if you just know you've got to do something literally 10,000 times, good God.
Yeah, right. I mean, I also think it's a different thing entirely when you're having a really bad day or a bad week to like try and remember that, and you think, nah, screw this. I just want the good bits. I don't want to go through all this pain. But like, yeah, exactly. It's the adventure, which is what it's all about, I think, or at least to me.
And how do you approach those setbacks then? Like you say, you're not having a great day or a great week. What tactics do you kind of use to remind yourself of what you're doing and why you do it?
I try and it's something that I'm working on at the moment, because I think if you can do that, if you can control the state that you're in, then you have a lot of power, as you can sort of like predict or completely control your mindset, and then every day is a good day, almost, you can make it. So the sort of things that I try and do if I'm having a bad day or if I've had a bad call or whatever it may be, is just try and in some way completely change my state. So either I'll go on a run and be completely exhausted and that changes my state, or I'll like listen to some music like really loud in headphones and just like get out head banging to it, or I'll plug in the guitar and just like smash out some chords or whatever it may be, but just in some way changing my state and getting out of that negative loop that you can get into. And then you just go spiraling down that hole, or at least I do. And then
it's so easy to do, isn't it?
Right. So
we feed off our own emotion. You only need a slight little glimmer of good or bad. It's quite easy to chase it, either the spiral up or the spiral down.
I think so, and I think it could be nice as well for people to wallow in your sadness and your despair and think, oh, nothing's going to work, and oh, I give up and all that. But
there's this funny thing, isn't there, kind of like it's almost my right to be pissed off about this thing, and actually if I'm not beating myself up about it, I don't care enough, or something crazy like that. I've definitely seen people hold on to anger, for example, because someone, I don't know, let's say someone cut you up when you're driving down the road, and then you get pissed off by it, and then hold on to it, because if you don't let go of it, you've let them get away with it, kind of thing. And you're only shooting yourself in the foot. So.
There's some people which I know who their whole reason for being in business and running their business is because they just want to stick their middle fingers up at the people they went to school with who said they're never going to amount to anything, or they want to have everything that their friends said they couldn't have, or their parents said they couldn't have. And I think that works for some people. I don't know what you think about that, but I don't think that's particularly a sustainable way of doing things.
I think it might work in the short term. But how does that, I don't know how that keeps you going in 20 years time when you're having a bad day. And I don't know, or look at now, right? We're heading we're in a recession, and we have no idea how deep or how long that's going to be. That's going to, there's going to be a lot of times you're going to have to pull yourself out of a situation, I would imagine, over the coming years or months or whatever. And doing anything for someone else, whether it be buying something so someone else might like it, or doing something because of how that someone else views you, is a complete waste of your own energy, because I can guarantee you those people aren't thinking about you at all. So if you're doing it for them, it's a waste of time.
Right, exactly. I think I heard someone once say that those kind of things are kind of like a pull, like you're pulled by the fast cars, the Ferraris and the big mansions, but actually it's more sustainable to be pushed almost by I guess a more healthy desire to, I don't know, want to build great things or to help people or whatever your motivation may be, but kind of like a push rather than a pull.
Definitely.
It's more sustainable, I think, exactly.
Because I think when you get there, once you get to the place, when I grew up, I always want this and I want that. And you get to the place where you could have it, and suddenly the desire is gone.
Yeah.
And I was probably quite lucky that I didn't win the lottery or something stupid when I was 25. I'd have been a mess. But wisdom definitely arrived over time. It wasn't present in the early days for sure. But I think if you can be focused on building something, I think that's where satisfaction comes from as well.
Right.
Like when you say, you talk about the bad days and stuff, and if you can still look back and say, look where I've come from and look where I'm on my journey to here, you've got something that's measurable. If all you're doing is chasing a pot of gold or a Ferrari, whatever, however that's manifest, then I think it feels pretty empty, and it's very hard on those dark days to get up and have a go at it.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I find that when I set goals, it's great working towards them. Then I want to reach the goal, it's great, and then the next day when I wake up, you just feel this big depression of like, no, what is it now? And it's just big, like you sort of like you're climbing up the hill and you're trying to reach your goal, and then you get to the cliff point and you come down the other side and you're like, and I can't imagine what it would be like if your goal was so big to earn £1 million a year, for instance, and you reach that, and then you wake up the next day and think, oh, that's great, but actually it's what now? I mean, it didn't really mean a lot. So I can't imagine what that massive of a drop would be like.
Oh, exactly. And you hear a lot of people talk about it. I think Jim Carrey's talked about it quite a lot, about earning. He wanted all of this stuff, and he earned so much money from acting, and he got there and it was just completely empty. There was nothing that when he got there was nothing. And it's all just fake stuff. So I think it's important to have goals that are more around what does your life look like? What does the life look like for those around you? What does the life look like for potentially for your children and their children? If you're building for a bigger purpose, then it's far more, in my opinion, it's far more motivating for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you get to the point of earning some money, it doesn't affect you like in the way you think it would.
Yeah.
And then if that's the whole reason for doing things, everything starts to crumble because you think, why am I doing this? If it's all about the money, then why don't I just go work a nice secure job and whatever it was and earn the money there? So yeah, I'm 100% with you that it's got to be more than just the money for a bigger reason.
It's just a tool, right? So
exactly.
The only purpose for money is to spend it on stuff. And then so what you want to be doing is spending it on wise things that move you and those around you forwards rather than just setting fire to it on junk.
Right. And I think that's the hard question is how are you going to use that tool of money to actually get what you really want, and what is it that you really want? And can you ever actually really say what you really want, or is it something that's always changing and you're just trying to chase after that?
I think so. I think peace of mind is probably number one, and understandably we live in a money culture, right? So people think they want lots of money, but you just really what people need is money to be able to survive without worry. And that number tends to be a lot smaller for a lot of people than they first think. They think it needs to be millions and millions, and it really doesn't.
Yeah.
And so it is purely just that tool. And what I find is a lot of people actually get focused on how much they need to get rather than what they do with what they've got. So if you're terrible with £1,000, you're not going to be any better with $1 million.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people out there that earn stupid amounts of money, huge sums of money that are still skint.
Yeah.
Because they're spending it as fast or faster than they're getting it, even though it might be £1 million+ a year, right? So they're no better off than someone with 20 grand a year. But people think, oh yeah, look at them, they've got loads of money. No, they're spending lots of money. They haven't got a lot.
Right, they're not retaining much. It's just all going out what's coming in. And as soon as that income stops from, I don't know, getting laid off in a job, or a particular side of your business starts to fail, and you're still spending the same amounts and the same Ferrari payments that you got every month, or the same rent that you're living in a luxury penthouse, you still got the same expenses, but actually the amount that you're earning has now decreased dramatically. And now, even though you may be earning 10,000 a month where you were earning 30,000 a month, that 10,000 a month is now a big pain that you have. You're only earning 10,000 a month rather than earning the 30,000 a month that you were used to.
Yeah.
I think that's a cycle that I wouldn't really want to get into.
It's pretty scary stuff, I think. And you've seen it, we've seen it a lot recently because of all of the COVID stuff, and businesses are being run in a large part a lot like personal finances. Where there isn't much in reserve, and then we're only 12 years past the last economic crisis, and people's memories are pretty short, right? You get to another unforeseen circumstance, and a lot of very large businesses that you'd think would be better prepared are not so prepared, and it's even harder if you're one of the small guys, that particularly if you're not long set up. I mean, you've got to be really thinking about the bad shit's always going to happen,
right?
So plan for the bad shit, and then if you get through it all and you're fine, good, but bad stuff's always going to happen somewhere. Indeed.
I think I don't really know too much about the whole COVID-19 situation. There's a lot of people saying they're experts at the moment and trying to sell you things related to COVID-19, but I'm not too much of an expert. But I think it's such a massive disruption that even on the scale of like recessions, it is, again, that trigger word, unprecedented, that actually this level of magnitude of disruption would take place. So I guess where businesses like was it Virgin Atlantic have, even though I imagine they do keep cash reserves for sort of recession times, but even this is so unprecedented that just completely wiped out because they didn't expect anything on this scale to occur. So I think there are some things you can plan for, and recessions do come every 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 years, what do people say about that? And I think there's some things like this which you just can't prepare for. And likewise, like something happening to family members or something happening to yourself where you can't work in your business or you can't carry out your job, whatever it may be. I think there's some things which you can plan for and some things which you can't plan for.
And what's it been like for you when, you're a fairly young business as well, and I imagine a lot of your clients have been affected, and how does that
Mm.
then flow down to you?
I've been really lucky, I think, with my business that I haven't been too badly affected. I've had a few clients who have put everyone on furlough, stopped trading, and therefore stopped their marketing because they can't service any new customers that they bring in, which obviously has affected me. I have a good number of clients who are continuing to work and continuing to need digital marketing and to get new customers. And then I've had a lot of people who have started to realize that, especially now, the only way to reach people, as we can't go outside at the time of recording this, that the only way to reach people is online. So they need a system which isn't relying upon in-person networking or isn't relying upon referrals or word of mouth to get those customers and kind of like prop up their business. So I haven't been too badly affected, but as much as some other people out there, which I'm very lucky about, but I know that it's been catastrophic for some people.
Yeah, that's good to hear. How with your business, did you, when you were setting it up, was there something you thought, I want to do that a little bit differently to other people? Is there, or an area that you felt you could really have a big impact?
I think, if I'm honest with you, David, not really, not too much.
Really?
There was.
Did you start focusing in a particular area within digital marketing? Did you think, all right, did you start with social or?
Yeah. So I started with social media, started going with that, and then found out it's a lot more scalable to do digital advertising. So sort of Facebook ads, Google ads. And I didn't start with a specific aim in mind, a specific focus in mind. I was kind of just trying everything out and seeing what worked. I did focus on fitness gyms and fitness businesses.
Right, okay.
I've done a fair amount of work with and got some good results with them.
Was that based down, was that a pure personal interest alignment type thing? How did that come about?
A little bit, but mainly because I tried it out, got some really great results, and
Right.
they're kind of like the irrefutable results where they're so solid in the numbers that if I went to someone who was needing to grow their fitness business and I said, hey, look, I've worked with this business, we've done X, Y, and Z, and they've seen their revenue increase by 25% or whatever it may be, then it's kind of irrefutable to say that it's out of the realm of possibility that we can do the same for their business. So I found that it was just more than being a personal interest. It was something that worked, and I thought, I'll stick at this and go at this. And what I really enjoy is actually just getting the results, and not just collecting the money, which is nice, but also collecting the money and knowing that the clients are happy to be paying you that because they're getting more back than they're paying you, and having that happy relationship there.
And that's key, isn't it? Being able to deliver, because it means they're getting the return that they're looking for. It means that they're gonna come back to you again, and continue to use your services, hopefully. And it's an all round win. I think it's too easy to get caught up in the just try and get the business, but the results are the most important part, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think, unfortunately, in my space, there's a lot of, I kind of call them cowboys, where they go out there and they say, yeah, sure, we can do that. It'll be X amount a month and we'll get you so many leads. You won't know what to do with them. And then 2 months down the line, they haven't produced anything and they get burnt. They leave that digital marketer or that consultant, that agency, and then never try it again because they tried out one who wasn't the best one to go with. And now they're not going to do it again.
Have you spoken to client or potential clients that have had that kind of experience as well? That have said, "Oh no, we don't want to go down that route. We've tried that before," kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tricky to try and get them to see that they had a bad experience, and say, you know what, we're going to do this, and this differently. And again, that's where results come into play, and saying we've actually got results with your industry, or we've got results with this business that has lots of parallels, which is the reason why we think we can get results for you, rather than people going in there after going through a sales training course and using all these tonality tricks and all that sort of stuff to try to almost trick the business into saying, yeah, I can do everything that you want, and tricking them into it.
And not having
not being able to back it up.
The experience to back it up.
Yeah.
It is a minefield, and particularly probably small medium businesses are. They know that they need to get some help mostly after trying themselves, I'd imagine. And and then not knowing where to look and not having big budgets. And so it can be quite easy, I think, for some of the less scrupulous people out there to prey on
Right.
them, because they can go in with lowish costs to win the business and then not deliver.
Yeah, exactly. And I think especially small businesses, local businesses, which may be the owner of the business is kind of like mid-50s, where they've grown the business over 20 years or whatever it may be, and they've just heard of Facebook ads, or they've just heard of Instagram or whatever it may be, and they think, oh, I want to try that out, but I don't know how to do it myself, or I don't have the time, or I don't want to learn how to do it. I'm going to bring someone else in. And you have this person that says, yeah, we can do that, not a problem, 200 quid a month. And they go in there, kind of take advantage of the person, not knowing what they're doing and not knowing how to spot the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and who doesn't know what they're doing. And yeah, exactly, just taking advantage of them.
What kind of support have you had to help you on your journey with, as you started to grow the business more? Have you had any mentors or people that you call on that have kind of made a difference to you? Yeah,
indeed. So the chairman of the business that I wrote apps for was kind of like my first mentor. I remember going to him when I decided I was going to do digital marketing, but still working in the business. I went to him after work one day and said, hey, can I ask you about some business things? And that was great, having someone that knew what they were doing and knew about everything about, well, not everything about business, but a lot more than I knew about business at the time. And then, slowly finding people who were at the point that I wanted to be at, and then saying, how do you get there? I think there's a lot of people out there who are, lots of people are happy to share what they know, but it doesn't mean it's relevant to you. It doesn't mean it's useful to you. I mean, people listening to this podcast now, what I'm saying may not be relevant to you at all. But if you are looking to grow a digital agency or a young person, then it may be more relevant to you. And it's about finding those people, at least what I found useful was finding those people who actually have achieved what I wanted to achieve and saying, how do you do it? What do you do if you're in my shoes again?
And where do you go about finding those people? Do you kind of reach out on social media, LinkedIn and stuff, or?
I kind of bumped into them when I've been working with other businesses, out networking, speaking to people, not really going out proactively looking for people, just bumping into those sort of people and saying, oh, you know what, that person was really interesting. I'll send them a text or send them an email and ask if they want to meet up for a coffee and talk about business. I found that people that are higher up in me than business or have got more experience are always happy, especially when you're a younger guy, to go out for a coffee and share their experience. And yeah, that's the way I kind of went about it, rather than hunting a mentor, as it were.
And have you then kept up relationships with some of those people on a ongoing basis? Do you have regular conversations or some more a bit ad hoc? Or
yeah, more of the ad hoc sort of basis that I'll go to them when I need some help on a certain thing. So I've got a mentor who is particularly good with sort of like B2B side of things, or has got a lot of experience in the B2B space, or a mentor who is a professional speaker. So if I need some help doing some speaking or how to put together a presentation, I go and ask them for some help on that. I don't have anyone that I go to on a regular basis. I have done that in the past and I found that useful, but at the moment, I don't have anyone that I do that with. I kind of find it more useful to, as and when I need the help, then I go out and seek the help that I need from the right people. And I find that's really useful.
Yeah, I think it is useful to try and, you look at the most successful people like, Zuckerberg and those kind of people, they still have mentors now, Bill Gates has hung around with Warren Buffett for the last 30 years.
Right.
It's no coincidence.
I think you've got to be a special kind of person to think that you know everything and you can't learn anything from anyone else. And you know what? I don't need someone that's 30 years ahead of me in business or in fitness or whatever my goal is to help me. I mean, they've got the answers. It's not going to hit you as hard as actually making the mistakes yourself. But if you can learn what mistakes they've made and implement them in your business or in your life and whatever you're trying to achieve, then it's just going to be that much easier to achieve that.
And what about books? Do you read a lot?
I used to read. My goal was a book a week, which I just about hit a lot of the time. And then I found that it was great, and I was feeling great because I was reading a lot of information and thinking, oh yeah, I'm learning so much. but I wasn't actually implementing anything. So although I was feeling great about reading so many books, it wasn't actually achieving anything. So someone that I know called it mental masturbation, where it feels great, but it doesn't actually achieve anything. So now I tend to read books where if I want to know about how to increase the retention of clients or members in a membership, then I'll read a book. I'll find out who's the best person in that market, find their book, read their book, rather than going around and saying, oh yeah, I'll read that one and I'll read that one, I'll read that one. It's more targeted, and then trying to actually apply what I've learned, rather than I think what a lot of people do is just read every book that they can, which is good when you start out, I think, just try and get that foundation.
Yeah.
But I find it very easy to get in the cycle of just reading and thinking you were getting anywhere, but actually you're getting nowhere.
I've definitely done something similar. I went through the phase of just read, and you suddenly think, well, half of the books anyway are regurgitating probably something Napoleon Hill wrote anyway, particularly if it's on personal development.
Yeah.
And then other books, you could end up finding 5 different ways to do something and more confused than you were when you started. So I think you've got to, kind of, like you say, pick an objective. What do I want to do better? What do I want to do differently? What don't I know? And go and find information to fill that gap, rather than just blindly reading stuff.
Yeah, and I think what you touched upon there when you talk about 5 different ways of doing things, I think there's a trap that I've fallen into where, especially with like YouTube, where it's so easy to find information, that you listen to 5 different people on how they've created their successful business, and you try and merge all of their different ideas into one way of doing things. But actually the way that they became successful was sticking to their particular blueprint. Like if you took apart 5 engines of a car and then tried to put them back together, you're going to get the wrong parts and the wrong engines. It's not going to work.
The great analogy.
Right. And I mean, going back to the courses, one thing that is really useful from courses, which maybe you can't find from YouTube, is finding the one blueprint which does work. So you have the one engine in one place, rather than trying to find scraps of different engines and trying to build your own engine. You've got like
missing a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is one useful bit from programs and courses.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Is having the end-to-end, the whole structure. You know, you've got the information and you've got the implementation in one place, and it's
right, and everything fits in together and works together.
It may not work for you, but it would work for lots of people, and it's and I think, you know, with anything in life, it's probably more down to the application, the persistence, and the consistency than it is necessarily any one particular thing. A lot of things will work if you do it consistently enough. You know, it's a bit like going to the gym. Everyone goes looking for the perfect workout program, and actually just go every week, 4 times a week or whatever, and there's no perfect workout program, but it's going to work if you keep doing it, you know. Right.
And there's a trap that everyone falls into, well, not everyone, that some people fall into, where
a lot of people
where they spend
it, you know?
they may spend ages trying to find the perfect workout plan, and they're not going to go to the gym until they find the perfect workout plan. And then the person who was like, oh, screw it, I'll just go to the gym and see what happens, and do that day after day, and didn't have the perfect workout plan, it's got far better results because they actually implemented on an imperfect plan, rather than spending ages trying to find the perfect plan.
It's too easy to get sucked into, you know, there's got to be one way. There's not one way. There's millions of ways for everything. Find a way and work really hard at it and see what the results are, and then you can always iterate from that point, you know, like you with your experience when you first started, and then suddenly other ideas come up and you go, oh, if I'd have done that from the beginning. But the point is, because you were working at it consistently, then the new ideas and the other opportunities come up, and you're probably better at executing anyway because you've got experience executing. Yeah,
exactly. I think that there's so many businesses which I've interacted with or met at networking events where you think, oh, it's such a wacky business. How does that even work? And I think a large part of it is that they've just stuck at it, and they've had the resolve to think, you know what, this is going to work. I'm going to stick at it and going to see it through, rather than looking for that one thing which magically works, as it were.
So what's the plan for you now, from where you are today? What does the next couple of years look like?
Not really too sure, David. I mean, that's part of the fun of it. But
What
looking
would you
to,
like it to look like?
I want to obviously grow my agency
Mhm.
and get more results with the agency. I've recently launched a new product which is helping smaller businesses get results with digital marketing, where they may not have the budget to hire a good digital marketing agency. So instead of paying for a bad digital marketing agency, they can actually learn to do it themselves. Um, and looking to grow that and build out a business which is sustainable. I
So
think a
talk to
lot
us
of,
a little bit about what that product is.
yeah.
How does
So
that work?
it's called Super Growth Marketing, and it's online membership of
Hmm.
where basically I record what I'm doing within my marketing agency and what we're doing for clients in order to get them results, where you can just look over my shoulder, see how certain aspects of it work. So let's say you want to build a Google Ads campaign, come in there, watch the Google Ads videos and courses, right? That's how I do it. And you go off and do it yourself. Nothing that I do inside my agency is magic. A lot of it is just pressing buttons and then knowing the right words to say. So it's nothing that's incredibly hard to know. I mean, the experience helps and knowing which ads work, which ads don't work, what are good things to say and which things aren't good to say. But ultimately, if you've got the time rather than the money,
Hmm.
then anyone can do it themselves. And hopefully that's my way of kind of helping out those businesses which otherwise would have to go with a poor marketing person, which is just going to burn them. And instead they can do it themselves, get some results, and hopefully get to the point where um, it's working for them. And that's great.
Hmm.
They can either hire someone else and bring them into the business, or they can go out and hire a marketing agency to actually do it and pay them the budgets of £1,000 or £1,500 a month plus to actually handle it properly. So that's something I'm really interested at growing at the moment.
Interesting. What anything else after that? What's next? I can tell you can't sit still for too long, so.
Right. Yeah. I just like trying out new things. And I think that you don't know I think that if I listen back to this in like 10 years time, I'll be in a completely different place to
Mhm.
where I would think I would be if I looked forward 10 years, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
true,
And I
true.
think it's just from finding new things and things you enjoy, things you like doing. I think that's the real focus, finding things that actually I like doing and enjoy doing. I've learned over the last couple of years that it's not too hard. There's lots of down points, but it's not too hard to go out there and build a business where you can easily make a living for yourself, providing a service in digital marketing. But actually looking at, right, okay, I can do that. Now, actually, what do I want to do? Where can I provide value to people? Do I really like helping people out? Do I really like building a big business that's worth a lot of money?
Mhm.
Finding it is what I like to do and then working towards that and just building stuff, building businesses. Yeah.
Nice. So
We'll see.
more. There
We'll
could be
see.
more. There could be more.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
Excellent. Well, it's been really enjoyable to talk to you,
Yeah,
and
likewise.
some really good insight. And hopefully, anyone listening to this will take a lot from it. A lot from the entrepreneurial path is not a straight one, but consistency is key, right?
Right. Yeah, I think so. 100%.
Where can people find you?
So they can find me, connect with me on LinkedIn. So Matt Penny, find me on LinkedIn. Or you can visit supergrowth.marketing if you want to learn more about digital marketing and how you can implement successful and profitable digital marketing in your own business.
Brilliant. Well, it's been great, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you very much for having me, David.
Awesome. Cheers, Matt. Thanks.
Sure. Bye.